welcome everybody. This is the unofficial soft landing starting point of the Biennale. But before we start, I would like to say a big thank you to Zone to Source, especially to Alice. She's not here, but we're really happy that we could be here again. The program is quite extensive. I'm not going to mention everything, but just to mention a few pointers of the program that will run today. There's Pedospheric Vibes by Felicity Mangan and Collision by Slikback that we commissioned in 2021 already. There is an adaptation of the work by Iannis Xenakis that we presented in 2020. There is a piece by Keith Fullerton Whitman from 2011, and there will be a new piece by Geneva Scheme also later on today. I think it's great that we start today in a few minutes with a brand new work, an installation called Embedded Embodied. It's a co-commission we did together with Hem by Farzaneh and Arash Akbari. Really glad we could do this.
Again, the idea is about epistemology, which combines the terms acoustic epistemology, which was coined by Stephen Feld in the 60s. He was living for a while with the Kaluli people. So because they used to live in a rainforest, the plants' distributions were quite dense, so you could not really see far away. And what Feld noticed was that these people are specifically quite sensitive to sound.
Workshop from the idea that we wanted to open up the field to young practitioners, a bit outside of the formal educational structures, and then we invited Ji-Yoon Kang, composer, sound artist, to develop together with us a workshop based in this space, working with this space, and working with a group of young artists around the theory, history, but also the practice of spatial sound.
First of all, thank you very much for coming to this final presentation of the workshop. To me, a workshop is something that comes with the tool that you bring home. And when you do workshop like this, which lasts for a long time, and then ends up with a concert like this, participants often forget that actually this is an opportunity that they take something and then bring home, and it's up to them to develop further or to forget about it.
Listening is a radical act. It's bizarrely across all areas of sound culture, whether it's sound art, eco-acoustics, it's often the listening that gets forgotten. So the listening is really important, but it's like the last thing on the tit list of things to do. So I think of it as a radical act. It's a radical act for ourselves and also for the planet. You know, we have to pay attention. So we're obviously using sounds that are, relatively to us, are tiny, but for every other species, they're loud. You know, I mean, lots of the sounds that we can't hear with our naked ears, other species can. So really, it's trying to get people to listen to this micro world and realise that the planet is not. It's not the planet we think we're trying to save. It's a very different planet.
I'm going to say a bit about not just the microphones but also the objects that I'm using today. I always think about the objects that I build or the moss that I'm going to work with today as like having as much agency, well not as much, but having an agency just like I do, and I see them as like collaborators rather than just being a prop for me to use, and I think especially in this piece it's really important to think about the moss as a collaborator.
Yeah, I think there's something we could say political or like, well, yeah, deeply political in listening and as a way or as a form of resistance or affirmation of, you know, existing basically, because when we listen, we put ourselves in the position of something else or someone else or someplace, somewhere else, right? Like there's a going out from you towards what surrounds you. So listening is not an individual or individualistic practice, but it's always a collective practice, and it considers that there's something else existing in the world other than you. And I find that very powerful.
With the idea of a labyrinth of time. So not a labyrinth of space, but a labyrinth of time, where you get lost in the time. You pass several times the same situation, the same things, but that in another space that in fact is repeating, and the sound and the feeling is different, but the content is the same. So it's being a bit lost. But don't be afraid, because in a certain moment, this labyrinth is only made out of sounds, air. It's here in this thing, and then when the sound is finished, the labyrinth is gone. So it's a nice feeling. So it's not there forever. And it's a quadraphonic piece, so it has 4 tracks. And the idea is, so you have mostly there, but it's okay, no problem. But it's divided in 2 walls of sound. So one wall in front and one wall on the back, and they don't mix.
It's a wheelhouse of sorts, like nothing is actually moving in the speakers. For me, it's important to have fixed location and then play with sort of amplitude and how conceptually one think of them as voices, so how one voice sounds against the others or with the others. And it's a wheelhouse of sorts because sort of the underlying method for all this is sort of equally divided placements of a wave within time. So the phase, so say I'm dealing with 10 voices, like how do you make 10 marks across a line evenly? And that's kind of each voice that you're hearing within this. But again, that gets sized up, so it's like one of those sounds could have 10 voices, but another could have like 300. So it's all about like equally dividing them. And then they're not steady. That's sort of the paradox of them that I like, that it's, so while they're equally divided, they're constantly in motion.
Quite interesting in the process of just like listening to the actual recordings, because some of them are a bit familiar. So like the museum claimed to have like recordings from East and Central Africa from 1910 up to date, and they're trying to digitize them. And this went on after like getting the recordings and deciding how to approach them, and my position in acquiring the recordings and trying to sort of intervene them through my practice. Yeah.